What a sick joke.
Hey everyone, I've been trying out a lot of new things in Dark Souls 3, but today I want to talk about my new favourite covenant. So if you've seen my last video, you know that it was all about how to troll and trick other players by appearing to be a white summon, when actually you're a disguised invader trying to kill them. The thing that was most likely to give you away using that method, however, was the fact that normal enemies in the level wouldn't respond to you. They wouldn't attack you and you couldn't attack them, right? So the only person you could attack was the host and his phantoms. So naturally, the host might get suspicious after a while since you aren't able to help them at all, and if they're paying any attention, they'll see that enemies aren't reacting to your presence. Have no fear, because the problem has been solved in the form of a new covenant. We've never had something like this before in a Souls game, and it's called the Mound-Maker's Covenant. I'm going to explain how it works, and I also recorded some footage of myself trying it out, and I had some seriously amazing invasions. I really feel like this is one of the best PvP covenants at the moment. If you want chaotic, mad, 5-way fights, as well as heart-wrenching trickery and deceit, this is the covenant for you. So it's actually pretty straightforward to join, it's just easy to miss the first time. That's the issue. It's all early game as well, so what you need to do is warp to this bonfire at the very start of the undead settlement. You then need to run through the level, always heading right. If you just follow the path I take, you'll get there. One other important thing you need to keep in mind though is that you cannot join the covenant if you've already beaten the curse-rotted Greatwood, which is the boss of this area. So remember to get access to this covenant as you play through this early game area. It will save you a lot of time, although there is actually a way to join this covenant later on in the game, but it's much later in the game. It involves summoning Sirius after defeating 3 Lords of Cinder. It's just more complicated and there's more things to deal with, so it'll be much more convenient and easier for you if you remember to do it right at the beginning. So you see that we've reached this bridge. You want to head right along the cliff edge. Now there will be some enemies to defeat up here, as well as on the rooftops, but for now I've already killed them. So once you've dealt with them, go up to the ladder on the closest building, turn right on the roof and jump off into the secluded area with someone who has a big cage on his back. If you have already beaten this area boss, this guy will attack you, which is not what you want. What you actually want to do is go up to him and press examine. This will have you get into the cage. Perfectly logical and totally expected. Anyhow, you'll then be teleported to the Pit of Hollows. If you've played through already, you might recognise this underground area. It's where the second half of the curse-rotted Greatwood boss fight takes place, once he breaks through the floor. Now there'll be an NPC to talk to. There's some dialogue to go through initially. He asks you if you're a hollow. I just said, indeed. Go through the rest of his dialogue and he'll end up giving you the Mound-Maker's Covenant item. If you talk to him again, he'll give you a Homeward Bone, which is quite important because if you think about it, there's no other way to get out of here. So that'll definitely come in handy. Right, so the altar behind him is where you can now offer vertebra shackles. You earn these shackles by killing either a host or a phantom once you're part of the Mound-Maker's Covenant, or by beating a Mound-Maker Covenant member who invades you. Once you've collected enough vertebra shackles, you can then offer them here for rewards. There's 2 ranks of this covenant. Rank 1 requires 10 vertebra shackles to be offered, which will reward you with a katana called Bloodlust. This is a pretty interesting katana, by the way. It has a weapon skill which involves stabbing yourself in order to buff your damage output. It's very similar to the Bewitched Alon sword from Dark Souls 2 if you've played that. And rank 2 on the other hand requires 30 vertebra shackles to be offered, and reaching this rank will reward you with the Warmth Pyromancy. This is a passive healing spell that slowly heals everything around it. Right, so now let's check out what this covenant actually does. There's 2 ways you can interact with other players. One way is kind of just standard. If you invade another player, so using a red eye orb or a red soapstone sign, then you will invade a host as a purple phantom and you'll have to fight the host. You won't be able to attack the normal enemies in the level. However, what makes this covenant so interesting is that if you put down a white summon sign and a host summons you in, you can help them because the normal enemies in the level will be hostile to you and you can kill them. But you can also choose the dark path because you can attack the host and summons as well. That's why this covenant is kind of mad. You can just attack anything. It's up to you whether you're savage or not. According to the wiki, invading as a Mound-Maker will prioritize worlds with many players, allowing for maximum chaos. From my experience using this covenant, I definitely found this to be true. So yeah, that's the basics, but there's another way you can use this covenant if you're feeling particularly cheeky. I'm of course talking about the white ring. In my last video, I talked about how to get the white ring and how it works. You can click here if you missed it. But essentially, you can trick new players and beginners by putting down your white summon sign, have them summon you in to help them, you put on your white ring as you enter the world so you look friendly, but this time, compared to the last video, it's much more believable because you'll actually be able to attack the enemies throughout the level, so you can behave exactly how a helpful summon would behave. But you might think, hold on, there's no way this actually works. I promise you, I had many more successes than failures. You have to understand that there are a lot of new players beginning Dark Souls 3, and even though there is a warning message when you summon a purple phantom, like it says something like, it's a mad phantom, are you sure you want to summon it? New players aren't going to know what that means. And I think something to consider is that purple isn't necessarily a danger colour, you know what I mean? Like a red soapstone is clearly danger. We associate red with danger, but purple? I don't know. Anyway, as you can see, I chose to be very naughty today. I got summoned into so many unfortunate players' worlds. I quickly gained their trust by attacking enemies, making sure they could see me attack the enemies, so they automatically assumed I was a friendly helper. And then, once I have an opportunity, I betray them. Look at this one. I gained this host's trust by the bonfire. Then I attacked him, of course. And then a random red invader came in, saw us fighting, and joined in, attacking the host. And I finished him off with a plunge attack, looked really cool. So I took off my ring to show my true colours. And then the invader takes my place. He slaps on a white ring at the end. Oh, the trickery, man. It's so good. The plus side of all this is, all these hosts that I invaded will now know, if that makes sense. So they won't fall for the same mistake next time. That's how you learn from your mistakes, right? So it's all positive in the end.